Just wait for. We are. You see, it says we are live.
We are live.
We are live, and that's keeping it Dutch. He been waiting. Dutch was like, I know he's going live. I know he's going. Bam! There he is. Southern Yankee.
Hey, kitty.
Kitty, kitty. Rebecca and Dutch. T.
Here.
Dutch, are you still on the tractor out there cutting the grass for the man?
For the man.
Yeah, he works for the state.
Oh.
Lonely Prepper. Greetings, sir.
We need to get in touch with him.
Why?
Because he needs to come visit.
Yes, he does, but I thought we were waiting on him.
No, he sent us an email saying.
Oh, okay. I'm not allowed to read the email.
That is not true. You just choose not to read them. And then blame anything that falls through the cracks on me.
That's my job. Susan Sullivan is in the house.
Aren't you supposed to do something? Don't you think you should beat her to it?
Ah, yes. Yes, you are correct. I know everybody's
Yay!
come in.
Donna's here.
Wow. Refresh Susan Sullivan.
Can't stay for long, but want to stop being for a few.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm about to get off. Hey, I wear aprons. I saw your post the other day about your doggy. Sorry about that.
Felicia just dropping in and then dropping out. Mm-hmm. Sure. Ma and Pop
Ma and Pa Park.
Park. I was going to say
Old Time
Park,
Homestead.
but the E threw me off. Old Time Homestead.
Oh my, thanks.
Cheers, everybody. Welcome.
Hey, Mama.
Welcome to the Big Bear Homestead. Mama's here. We're going to give everybody about 5 minutes to get here before we start the class. What's up, Prissy Green? Give everybody a few minutes.
About to eat dinner and grow up, Felicia.
No. I'm not going to be adulted today.
Love you too, Claire.
I'm not afraid to put you in timeout, Claire.
She'll just leave. It's time for her dinner anyway. Ours is after this.
So, how was your day? While we're waiting on everybody.
It was okay. It was okay.
What's up, Two Family Homestead? How's it going?
It was okay.
Two Family Homestead.
Dutch, I double Dutched those we talked about last night. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, because he came on live last night. I saw that.
Ah.
He's having an issue with the insomnia, I think. Do it, I dare you. No, don't feed the troll. I should have called her a troll, but do you grow sweet potatoes, Jason? We tried. They didn't do very well this past year. Nothing did well. Nothing did well this
We're
past
fixing
year.
to start getting the sweet potato tubers that we got from Daniel over at Go for Green
You're
Homestead.
just jealous because Simply gave me a wrench and threatened to take yours away.
They won't take mine away.
That's okay. You ain't got to say hi, Jarhead.
Just now saw you there.
Well, I saw
Well, you should have said hey to him.
you. No, I think I read his post. But I guess
But yes,
Didn't
Kitty, we're getting ready to
read it out
start.
loud.
I'm not talking.
You're not talking. I was still talking. Anyway.
We're getting ready to start we got the tubers from over there from Go for Green Living. And we're getting ready to start them. You know what, Kitty? Yeah, that's right. Go pick her brain. That's okay. That's fine.
She's wiser anyway.
Robin, we have talked.
Just trying to get things going to start YouTube.
You better love me. You better love me because I am the one in control of whether or not your boyfriend gets to be on the internet.
Is everyone still talking about wrenches? No?
No, not really.
Mm-mm.
But I know what the hint she's giving. I know what the hint she's giving. Go ahead and refresh, Mama Cat. So, all right. So we've got about 6 minutes in here. So we're gonna probably go ahead and get started because it's Thursday night and we got to get done before. Who comes on?
I don't know. I haven't paid attention to the schedule.
I think the first one that comes on is
Brad?
Big Family at 8 o'clock. So, I think. Am I right there, Felicia? Your daddy's the first one that comes on at 8, so we got a little bit of time.
Let's see here. Thursday night. Nope. Dirt Patch comes on at 6. Oh well. Yeah, Big Family comes on at 8.
Yeah. As far as I know, she ain't part of the
Oh,
network no more.
Jason, we all love you. You know that. I just need to talk to someone who's already done it. From tubers to taters.
Whatever. So, all right. So let's get into the subject of worm. What?
Oh, Dutch. He says, I've yet to time anyone out. I'm kind of disappointed.
That man needs counseling. Okay, so today we're going to call this time that we spend with you guys Thursday in the garden with the big bear. What do y'all think about that? I think that's pretty cool. Kind of catchy, kind of thingamabob. Don't you?
Sounds great to me. I know, you just don't love me anymore.
Yeah. I call it Thursday in the garden with Big Bear. So, I think I can put that colon right there. Colon. So, I still love you, Mama. Don't go there. Don't even get me going. Have me put me in a corner.
Usually doing my eBay business. Forget that.
As far as I know, from my understanding, Dirt Patch is not doing it anymore.
I don't know. If
as
she
part
is,
of the
it's
network.
Fine.
So,
we're
but
not
if she is,
here.
I'm not here.
We're not here as part of the network. We're just doing our thing.
Yeah.
It's
so
fine.
we're gonna do our thing. So let's get started.
You need a bear suit.
Hi, Ima. Okay. We're gonna just keep bringing up stuff to really stop. Well, thank you, Barbecue79.
Alright, Thursday in the garden.
Thursday in the garden.
Alright.
Alright, so today, last week, we talked about raised beds. Okay? And we talked about all the benefits that come with having raised beds.
You're gonna have to stop moving.
Well, I can't help it. I get excited. I get to moving. That camera's just going to have to keep up. Plus, that camera making me look a little heavy today.
Yeah, it's the camera.
Do you want a spanking?
Raised beds.
So we talked about the raised beds and all the benefits that go along with raised beds. But here's the thing. We all know to be able to put the dirt in those raised beds, man, you got to be able to make a lot of compost. And
hold on, stop. Real quick. No, we don't know that she quit the network. I know she's just moving around a lot and she's traveling, so sometimes she makes it to her times and sometimes she doesn't. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, what was I talking about? Oh,
Dirt
in it. And we all know that compost by itself takes, if done correctly, takes a long time. Even if you get one of those tumblers that says it's done in 7 days, The fastest we've been able to get it to do is
months.
no. The fastest we've been able to get it to do is about a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but anyway, it's going to take time to make good Mardi Gras style compost.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you that are new, what I mean by Mardi Gras, I talked about how your soil needs to be having a party with all of the microorganisms and the bacteria and the protozoas to be having a party. You want them down there like it's Mardi Gras and just having a good old time. So how can we speed this process up? Well, couple of things that you can do. Okay, this week we're going to talk about worm composting, and next week we're going to talk about black soldier flies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why are we bringing these things up? Well, to be able to speed up the process of composting, you need to add an element to your compost, a organism that has what they call a voracious organism, which means this thing stinking eats.
Well, the Latin voracious means to consume or to like veracity, you know. So it's very overpowering. It comes, so that makes complete sense that it would be something that just is.
Now, worm compost or worm composting has a different name, and they call it verma, vermi, compost. Vermicompost. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong.
Vermicompost.
She's probably itching. But basically what that means, it's the method of using the digestive powers of the earthworm to consume and recycle the kitchen waste.
It kind of sounds like a German saying worm. Vermicompost. I bet it probably is. It's pretty funny. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, we're here to learn. Let me take my notebook out. Let me start writing notes.
This is just payback for me being the class clown in the oils class. That's all this is. But basically, that's basically what it means. Okay, and I say kitchen waste, but you can use other organic matter, and to do this, to be able to create a rich nutrient soil amendment. That's all compost is. It's not soil. It's an amendment for the soil. Keep that in mind. Okay. Now, vermicomposting works just like composting. You're creating an environment that is ideal for all of your fungi, your bacteria, your protozoas. I can never pronounce that one right.
No, you did it right.
And what you want, right, is for these organisms plus your organism, your worms, okay, your voracious organisms, to be able to break down all of this organic matter that you're placing in your compost area. Okay? And what that does is they're tearing it up. The worms are eating it. And we'll get into in the class later how much these little boogers really eat. But they're doing that, and they're building an ideal amendment to your soil, which again is our Mardi Gras party. Okay? Now, so what does the worm composting or the vermicompost actually amend in your soil? Okay? It's going to provide nutrients back to the soil. It's going to help the soil hold in those nutrients in a way that it's easier for your plants to be able to consume them. Okay, and what I mean by that is you're going to have the vermicompost or your compost and stuff that you're going to add to your soil. One, you're bringing the party. Okay, that's all your fungi, bacteria, protozoa, all of that. Okay, you're bringing the party, and it's taking some of your hard clay soils and it's making it aerated, and it's making it easier for the drainage, all of that. And then on the flip side, on your sandy soils, okay, it's bringing everybody together. It's making it so where the party's a little bit closer and everybody's tighter, so that way it reduces the amount of drainage that you have. Okay, you follow me? It's in sandy soil, the vermicompost is helping to retain the moisture. In your clay type soils, okay, because anybody knows if you add a lot of water to clay, what happens? Right? It becomes...
You have a cob house.
Yeah, you got a cob house. You know, it becomes real muddy, sticky, nasty.
Nothing can grow in it.
Right. So when you add the vermicompost to it, you're bringing the party, and it's kind of separating the clay a little bit with all the good stuff.
So breaking it up, basically.
Yes. Okay.
Now, either way, in those soils, the sand and the clay by themselves are not very good mediums for growing anything. But when you add the compost to those, it makes them a much better medium. And
here's the star, the caveat. And it really depends on what you're planting is how much you want to amend this soil.
Right.
Okay? You want to, if you're doing like a root veg, okay, your carrots, your taters, turnips, sunchokes, if you've got those, you want more of a loosey goosey sandy type soil, because you don't want the soil to hinder and stop the growth of the root. That's why when you first move into the homestead, one of the first things to do, they tell you to do, and I recommend that you do, is you plant yourself a nice big potato patch, because the potatoes will help bust up your ground, because it's going to force everything out. And plus then you'll really be able to tell what type of soil you really got, because you're going to want to till it up.
Real quick, Mama wants you to explain how you know if you have clay.
How could you?
Well,
your clay soil, it's colored different. You've either got kind of like a light brown, orange colored, and it can even go white,
like a whitish gray
color. The soil itself will be kind of like little bricks, really hard to break up. They'll pop, and they'll be very, most of the time they're really dry, unless you just had a huge downpour, and then it's kind of like pottery clay.
Right. If you can take, if it's wet, or if you make it wet and put it in your fingers and kind of rub it together, you'll see it leave almost like a residue. It'll kind of stick to your fingers, whereas if you have more of a regular dirt or sand, it's going to kind of just rub off of your fingers. But when you have clay, you can tell, because it leaves almost like a residue, oilish residue to your fingers when you have it.
The ideal soil, very heavy, very hard.
Yeah.
The ideal soil condition that you really kind of want to have is you want to have a medium between really sandy and clay.
Right.
You want to be able to, when you grab a hold of it, okay, I always smell my dirt, and dirt should smell like dirt. You should get an odor it should have kind of like a damp, like kind of like how a root cellar smells.
But not musty.
Yeah. And when you squeeze it, you don't want water running out through your fists. And when you open up your hand, you don't want it to just completely hold the shape of your fist. When you open it back up, it should somewhat retain that shape, but it should also kind of fluff back up.
Or crumble a little bit away from the...
Yeah. So, all right, I talked about, because I got a whole bunch of notes here. I talked about the soil structure and improving. Now, vermicompost, it will also help improve your aeration and drainage. I think I said that already. Increased, yep, said that. Provides multiple beneficial bacteria. Okay, so.
Is this vermicomposting or is this composting in general?
Vermicomposting. Okay. Now, how do we go about making vermicompost? This is where a lot of people get intimidated. I guess this is the best way to say it. Believe it or not, the art of making compost is not rocket science. A lot of folks try to make it rocket science, and I don't understand why. They want to measure out, I got 2/3 of this and 1/3 of that and this and that. And you don't need to be doing all that. You do have to have a balance between carbon and nitrogen. So your green and browns, okay, you want to have more green than brown. That's the only thing you need to worry about. Everything else, it'll take care of itself. And it doesn't matter if you put it in a bin or a tumbler or tires, or you make a round bin without a hog fencing. All those work great. This not rocket science. And then when you want to add worms into it, people will be like, I can't do it. That's just too much.
I give up.
I give up. No.
Worms are gross. Because that's what a couple of people...
They wiggle.
Yes, they wiggle. Okay? But they are so vital, so important to the success of your garden. Whether you're growing tulips or tomatoes, potatoes or daffodils. Okay? Potatoes or petunias. Squash or sunflowers. Trying to go flower. Okay. Anyway, worms are extremely valuable because they do so much. Their castings do great, and they're making little tunnels, man. And the little tunnels help aerate, helps get air to the roots. It helps get the moisture to the roots.
Bye, T.
Yeah, exactly, Mama Cat. The worms are doing all the hard work. Do you have to look at them or touch them? You have to...
Kat, do you have any kids or grandkids? Because I don't know how old you are, but kids or grandkids or neighbors' kids or something, man, they love playing in dirt and they love worms. Make them do it.
Worm, Mama Cat, or Cat Lover, I'm sorry. There's too many cats. We need some dogs up in here.
Well, there's no, the house of cats isn't in here yet.
That was funny. We need some dogs. Okay. Anyway, no, Mama Cat, you don't have to touch them. But you're probably going to have to look at them initially.
Not really. I mean, if you go get them at a bait shop and you got them in a container, you could just toss them in there and walk away.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. You could do this number.
Just make sure you put it over top of the thing and just walk away.
Yeah. Now, let's talk, since we're right here, let's talk about this worm bin. Okay? Sizes and dimensions of this worm bin will vary. Okay? Mine is huge. Okay? Pooper Scoopers may not be as big as mine. Cat Lover may not have one at all, but if she built one, it may not be as big as ours. It may be a little small cardboard box. You know, if Maria was in here, you know, hers would probably, because she lives in an apartment, I would suggest that she did it, and she would do probably just in a small cardboard box or a small container.
Well, this Kelly Huffman lives in an apartment, and that's what he was talking about earlier.
Okay.
That's why he's saying this may solve my lack of a garden I had last year.
Yes.
So
Kelly,
yeah.
this is your
Mama Cat's showing off. I bait my own hook.
So
you go, girl.
So yes, Kelly Huffman, this is for you. Mm-hmm. And all you need is one of those little plastic totes. Now, some people say you can do it in a cardboard box. Yeah, you can, but personally, I'm not doing it in a cardboard box because you need to put drain holes in there because a lot of this material that you're going to put in there, one, has to be wet, and two, they're going to be doing their business. I mean, worms do poop.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, that's part of what you're hoping for.
You want them to poop. And so I would do, if you're going to do it inside, I would do it plastic bins. Now, in the description, I put a worm bin starter kit that you can get from Amazon. And it comes with a great book. It comes with the worms, and it comes with a lot of the medium to be able to start it with. So it's a great little starter kit if you're just getting started. And if you've done it before, but you kind of want to get a nicer kit and you want to get away from the plastic bin that you got at Wally World or cardboard boxes or whatever, I put that one in there also. We use a chest freezer that just went kapooey.
Yep, just completely died on us, and there was no other need for it. And at the time, we really didn't have a way of hauling it anywhere. So we're like, well.
And the reason why I use it, one, it's automatically got a drain hole. And it's got a good drain hole because, why? Well, it was a freezer. And so when you defrosted it, it had to have somewhere for the water to go.
Right.
So the bottom is naturally already sloped to be able to come to this drain hole. Mm-hmm. It all comes out this drain hole. So then I can collect my worm tea. Remember that. But you want a bin that's going to be sturdy. Okay, you can build it out of wood. Like I said, you can use plastic. You can use an old upright freezer. You can use an old rusted, I don't want to say rusted out, but an old water trough that you can get at Tractor Supply if you want to invest that kind of money in it. And bam, okay? Now, with that being said, okay, with us, this is how we establish ours. There's different ways to go about it, but we're going to talk about how I do mine first, and then we will talk about how the book says to do it.
What the book says.
Okay? Now, like I said before, we use an old upright freezer. And what I do is I put a thin layer of cardboard down. Okay? Then on top of that, I put about 8 to 13, 14 inches of leaves. And I soak it. And I soak it really heavy, okay? And then I don't do anything for a couple of days. And what I want that water to permeate into the cardboard to not make it as stiff. Okay? And I'm basically with that I'm encouraging the fungi and the bacteria to grow in the leaves, just like how we make leaf mold, okay? And then after that, okay, then I just want enough moisture to almost be like a damp sponge in there before I add anything else. Once I reach that type of moisture level, okay, then I'm going to add my worms. Now, this is where it gets kind of tricky, because this is going to vary for each person. Okay? Now, you need to keep in mind about how much food waste your household produces on a daily basis. Okay? Because if you go and you buy 1 pound of worms, that's approximately 1,000 worms. Okay? Now, that 1 pound package can consume about a half a pound of your food waste in a day. So that's banana peels, leftover vegetables, breads, pastas. I'll get all of that in a minute. But all those kinds of things that you're going to be tossing in there.
Real quick question. Can you use grass clippings like leaves?
You want more of a carbon-based thing for the one on the bottom. Now, if you've let the grass clippings die and they're brown and almost like a busted up hay, then I guess you could, but I really like to use the leaves. One, because they're
everywhere.
They're everywhere. And they're free. And all you got to do is look at the kids and go, rake the leaves. And they rake the leaves up and you put the leaves in there. And it helps when you because the leaves will help hold the moisture a little bit, but not too much. And I'm afraid that the grass clippings might retain too much moisture. I've never tried it with grass clippings. Give it a go and see what happens. But you got to really, really pay attention to the moisture level with the grass clippings. So once we've got the moisture level right, we add our worms. Now, the 1,000 of worms, half a pound of food scraps per day. Okay? Now, they say the average family of about 4 makes about a pound of kitchen scraps per day. Now, this is something that you need to take into consideration. If you go off and you work out in the world, then that means you need to bring your scraps back home for breakfast or lunch. Depends on what time you eat. Because I don't think it's going to be a pound of just dinner scraps, if you know what I'm saying. Especially when we got to limit what we can put in there. Okay. Now, if you're a vegetarian family, you're golden. You may even want to double it. Now, the average family that's just doing it to begin with, their bin may only need to have about 5 square feet of surface area to begin with. Okay? And that's where a lot of the tiers stuff come into play. That's what they say. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think that if you've got it, the kitchen waste to be able to put in there, go big or go home kind of thing. But here are the things that you can make your bins out of. They said a cardboard box, a plastic bin, an old chest freezer. You can make a wooden box. Now, I've already went over all that. I misplaced my spot on my notes here. So we put the layer of leaves down. Okay, we got the moisture right. See, that question completely threw me off.
I'm sorry.
Then we put the worms in. Okay. Now on our homestead, we put about 2 pounds of worms in. Okay. We put the worms in, and then we hit them with kitchen scraps. Now the stuff that we put in there, that stuff that you can put on there, is any vegetable matter, any eggshells, coffee grounds, any plain cereals. Now, you can't put Fruit Loops in there. It's got to be a plain with no dyes, nothing like that in there. Bread, but it can't have butter or mayonnaise on it. And any pastas. You can put all of that stuff in there. Okay? They also say you can put dryer lint in there, but that's only if your clothes have natural fibers in them. Cotton, linen, wool. Okay? Personally, we just save most of our dryer lint to help start a fire. So we ain't putting dryer lint. And come the summertime, our stuff's hanging out on the line anyway. Okay? Now, stuff you do not put.
Everybody, before you even start this, everybody get out a piece of paper. If you don't take anything away from this, This you really need to pay attention to because, and I saw earlier Susan said if it starts to stink from the scraps, then they're getting too much, and that's a good indication. But what you're getting ready to tell them is
right,
very important.
Okay, this is super important because, and this is why you do not want to have an odor coming from your worm bin that can attract mice, rats, possums, coons,
Any kind of predator.
any type of predator, or
right.
any other type of vermin, or the black soldier fly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the black soldier fly is such a voracious consumer that he'll eat it all up, and then your worms will die. Mm-hmm. Okay, now done right, you can put your worm bin right next to your black soldier flies, and they won't compete. Okay, but it's got to be done correctly, and this is how you do it. You do not put any meats in there whatsoever, not cooked, not raw, nothing. You don't put any bones, any skins. You don't even put bacon drippings in there. Okay? Mm-hmm. Don't put them in there at all. Give the bacon drippings to your dog. He'll love you forever. And he'll get a shiny coat and bad gas. But take the good with the bad. You don't put any type of oils in there. No butter, margarine, which is sad that they're going to list butter as an oil and not a dairy product, because that tells you how fake the butter is nowadays. But anyway, no butter, margarine. Your salad dressings, don't want to put them in there. No mayonnaise. You don't want that to go in there. Anything that's got any type of oil base to it. No peanut butter, stuff like that. No dairy products. That means no yogurt, no cream cheese, no butter, no sour milk, no cheese, none of that stuff. Don't put it in there. And you want to limit the amount of citrus and onyons and broccoli you put in there. Okay? And mostly it's just because of the odor that they put off.
Well, I would imagine the citric acid would kind of be...
Yeah, that could mess with them a little bit if you're putting like 60 pounds of citrus in there, but mostly it's about the smell. Okay? They say not to put pet feces in there, but look, there are times if I run across some dry, we'll go out to the pasture, and if somebody, the chickens miss the cow patty and it's all dried up, or I got some donkey poo that nobody scratched up through and it's kind of dried up, we'll scoop it up, put it in a bucket, and toss it in there, and we've never had any issues with it. Okay? Now, I have never put a fresh cow turd in there. No, I ain't done it. No, not done it yet, but I'm thinking about doing an experiment. I'm just making it up as I go.
I know, right?
No, I've never done it. Never done it, again, because of the odor. Mm-hmm. Once it's dry,
yeah, it doesn't have an odor.
It doesn't stink, so you can put it in there. I've never had an issue with it, okay? But again, of course, that's us. Now, you'll understand more why I say you can run black soldier flies and worms side by side, if done correctly, next week after I tell you everything that you can put in with the black soldier flies. Because the major thing with the black soldier flies is
all the stuff you can't put in with or you're not supposed to.
You're not supposed to put in with them, and the same stuff. And black soldier flies are just glutton. Mm-hmm. You know, they'll eat. So now we know what we can put in there and what we can't put in there.
Coffee grounds, should they also be limited?
I think they'll tear them up so fast, and the moisture and stuff will run down through that. I don't know. I mean, it depends on. How much coffee you really drinking?
Well, if you drink a pot a day.
A pot a day, that's
tea grounds.
Yes, you can put tea grounds in there also. I don't know who that is.
Yes, coffee grounds are good for an amendment by themselves.
By themselves, yes.
So, you know,
and so are tea grounds.
Right, so you can kind of toss between them. Don't overdo it with the, you know, the worm composting. Go ahead and spread it out with your, you know, your other plants and stuff.
I would say a good general rule is if you've got that little coffee filter hooyah thingy.
That's a technical term.
Yeah, and it takes about we put about 4 scoops when we use that one.
3 or 4 big heaping tablespoons.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like not a serving tablespoon, not a like measuring tablespoon.
Yeah. So
4 pots a day? Are you kidding me? Well, no wonder Susan's saying you should limit it.
if you're doing 4 pots a day,
yeah, I would limit it.
But I would say if you put one of those filter things in there a day, you should be fine. You might be able to push it to 2, but if you start to smell it too much, back off.
Back it off. And Palmetto has a good point. Coffee grounds are plant matter. And that's what they are, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
It would be okay, but
you know, I would, and again, there's no definite boom, 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 boom. You have to be observant when you're doing this. If you're starting to smell the coffee, back off on the coffee grounds. If you're starting to get a funk to it, add more worms. Because I'm gonna get to that, kitty. Relax. So it's a balance game. You remember how when we were kids and we all got on the tater tot thing?
The tater tot? The teeter tot?
Teeter tot. And you used to try to balance with your friends to see how many friends it was to be able to level the fat kid back up. Oh, don't act like I ain't the only one that done it. You know, you just get 3 or 4 of your friends and it'd be the fat boy over there, and that's the same thing that you're doing. Okay? That Wayne on one end, 3 or 4 kids on the other.
You're so ugly. So,
you know?
Claire's back. Hello, Claire.
What's up, Felicia?
All right. Well, they eat okay, first of all, answer Kitty.
Okay.
What are the best kind of worms to add besides the typical pink British earthworms?
You want to get what they call the surface type of earthworm. Okay, your night crawlers and stuff, they go a little bit too deep. You want the surface ones that way, because when you're coming in with your compost, your vegetable matter, you're dumping it on
new stuff, right?
You're dumping the new stuff up there, so you kind of want the ones that are going to be up there like Langoliers, chomping it all up. Okay, so that would be something like your red wiggler, like the ones that Kitty said. They're going to be your smaller, thinner worms. Okay.
With my lack of kitchen scraps, I'll have to grow a garden to feed the worms.
Well, you can make a worm bin in a mason jar, Lonely. Just do it in a mason jar. Every day, just kind of dip out the tea.
Red wrigglers?
Red wigglers. Yes, they're a type. Those are the ones that you get at Walmart. Okay, those are the little thin ones. The big fat night crawlers, you kind of want to stay away from your big, long, fat ones.
Now, there was a question earlier about whether you can mix big worms with little worms.
I mean, I guess you could, but you want to have more of your surface type worms because they're going to be up there. They're going to be the ones that are going to be eating and consuming your stuff.
All of your waste.
Your
kitchen waste.
Bigger worms are going to be going down there and they're going to be tearing up your leaf matter and destroying all of that. And maybe they might get the occasional chunk of squash or something that rots its way down to the bottom. Okay, but a general rule is you want to stay with their smaller breed of worms, the ones that are up near the top. That way they will just tear it up.
Okay, that's the second time Mama Cat's asked, what about seeds, like from apple cores and such? Do you need to pull those out? What do you need to do?
I mean, you can leave them in there. It really won't matter. They may chew on them, they may not. They may just rot down in there for you, and it'll just be compost. You won't have an apple tree pop up out of nowhere because of that.
Right.
So I wouldn't waste the time. Now, if you're interested, if that's an heirloom apple, then by all means, I would pull the seeds out and try to save them and
plant them in the.
Try to start my own apple orchard. And I mean, you get good money for a little sapling. So that's just something to think about. Is there any more questions?
No, but Palmetto brings up a good point. When you flip over a rock and you see them all at the, basically at the surface, those are the kind of worms that you're looking for. Is bread allowed? Yes.
Yes, bread is allowed. Bread is
good.
Very good.
And I don't know, like Lonely was talking about not having kitchen scraps. Well, I mean, check out the bread rack at Walmart when they've got bread that's sat for a couple of days that they can't sell, and they're selling it for 50 cents.
Yeah, they've come out with some new laws, and depending upon your state, check it out, that if you go to a restaurant or you go to a grocery store and say, hey, I need this for compost, and you write up an official letterhead or whatever, there's some stinking requirements that you got to write some stuff up, and but you can, and then they can take that letter and then you can back your truck up and fill up your truck and however much that they have that you can take, and then you can bring that back.
And the other thing too is, I mean, like we run into the same thing with pig slop all the time, is that I'm sure if you put the word out to a couple of friends that you would like kitchen scraps, I mean, you go buy a
little 5-gallon bucket.
Not even a 5-gallon. You could go get depending on who you're, how big, because I mean, Lonely Prepper's by himself, so he doesn't need a big, huge 5-gallon bucket. He can go get a gallon jug of the cheap ice cream that you get at Walmart, and then reuse that because that seals on its own. It's got a handle, and then fill it up in there, and then you can do it that way.
How do I keep them cool? What?
Well, we're up at Mama Cat. Do things need to be a certain size? Do you have any dimensions that they have to be?
No. Okay. You want to make your bin to the size that's going to accommodate your worms and your vegetable matter. Okay? Again, if you're piling up the vegetable matter because you're producing more, then you'll need to make a bigger bin and add more worms. If your worms are tearing it up and you can't keep it up, you might want to cut back on the bin, cut it up, make 2 separate bins, give one to a friend. The very first year you're going to be learning a lot and experimenting a lot. So there's, again, it's not rocket science. It's just there's a learning curve that goes with it, because I don't know how much vegetable matter or table scraps and stuff that you're producing at your house to be able to tell you need a 4x4 worm bin. Now, Tammy Z asked
about temperature. Said she cooked her worms last summer.
The best thing that has worked for us, one, is we use the chest freezer that helps keeps things insulated. And 2, we do our best to keep them in a shade. Now, we moved them, and we already know that 9 times out of 10, we're in the heat of the summer. If we're running worms, we're going to have to put up a shade tarp over them just because of the way that the sun travels here. So you want to pick an area that gets almost like honeybees. You don't want them in direct sunlight, but you don't want them all completely in the shade either. And moisture is the key. If it's just getting really hot and you start to see stuff starting to dry out, throw water to it.
Another question earlier was about the coffee filter. Will they break down the coffee filter?
Yeah, because the coffee filter is going to almost fall apart anyway when you pull it out. So yeah, they'll break that down with no problem.
Let's see. There was another one. Somebody asked. Oh no, the one thing.
Now that's something I haven't tried.
What? An older cooler?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Two Family Home said
dog
that
food. Yeah.
we've also used out of date dog food from places like Tractor Supply.
Yeah. Well,
that's
other thing.
A good idea.
The other thing I was gonna say is the other day. A lot of times the produce people at the grocery stores, like when they're reorganizing everything, they may have, like, this guy yesterday or day before was thinning out the cabbage because the older leaves of the cabbage were, and so he was pulling all it off and put it in a box. And I said, I have a question for you. I said, where do you guys put that stuff? You just put it in the dumpster in the back? He said, yeah. I said, so if theoretically I wanted to drive around and back to the dumpster to pick up that box for compost or whatever, would it be there? And he's like, yeah, probably. Okay, just wanted to know.
Yeah, that's the great thing. See, at least in our smaller town, okay, being the produce guy at the Ingalls is still a very respected profession. People still go to them like they did back in the day. Hey, brother, I'm kind of same way. At our Ingalls, they've got a little, for lack of a better term, a butcher there, and you can watch him cut up the meats and stuff there. And so if you get to know them, they won't even put it in the stinking dumpster. They'll set it beside the dumpster. Some of them will give you a call and say, hey, I'm putting out a big honking box today. You may want to come by, let's say 5-ish, pick it up. And you swing by there and, they may just throw it right in your truck if you time it just right, And so it does. What's the worst they can say when you ask? No. That's the worst thing that they can say. And I've been told no a million times in my life, so I'm kind of used to it. What?
I was just looking.
So, Jason, can you put coffee filters in as well?
Yes.
Someone asked.
Well,
Yes.
we already asked that.
Yes.
Dumpsters are public as long as you don't throw your trash in them. Yeah. Right, and that was the thing, is like, that's what I asked him, is, so if you, like, put this off to the side and somebody just happened to drive along and pick it up, so anyway, let's see.
Dolphin Man, my name's not Brad. What you trying to say, man?
I have a plumber friend that always has working toilets on hand. One I have now, he pulled out of some house. Oh well. Yeah. Anyway.
So, and believe it or not, if you homeschool your kids,
you're married. Just saying.
If you homeschool your kids, this is a awesome
science project.
And I'm talking about awesome science project. Yeah. They can get in there and they can get their hands dirty. They'll pay attention and they'll take care of it, and they'll think that they're just high on the hog because they got this and they got this going on, and you just monitor it. Now, when do you harvest all of this? Okay? Any book will tell you about 6 to 8 months. Harvest it. I'm telling you, more than likely, let it go the entire season. Okay? Then when you're putting in your fall garden, harvest it up. After you remove all of your summer garden, top dress your garden with this, and that'll give that extra kick to your fall garden.
Now let me ask you something. When we did this last year, all of the remnants of our garden, like the green pepper plants and stuff like that, we were able to put back into the worm garden as part of our scraps, because a lot of times our scraps are given to the pigs or to the chickens. So we can kind of divvy between the two by reusing some of that waste as well.
Yep. Because look, when you're after your, if you let your, like for us, we're getting ready to be putting peas, cabbage, romaine, all that kind of stuff. Believe it or not, Mother of Many Horses, I got some pictures. I got pictures. I just forgot to put them up. I got so into talking, I forgot to put them up.
1967 all over again, Jason. Sorry. It's okay. It's okay, Dave. It was funny.
So once you let your lettuce go to seed, okay, you collect your seed, you ain't gonna want to eat that bitter lettuce. Pull it, right into the worm bed it goes.
Yep.
They'll eat the bitter seed.
Yeah.
Now, during this 6 to 8 month season, your worms are gonna die and they're gonna reproduce. Because remember, they got a party going on, and what happens when you start partying? Inhibitions go down, and da da da.
But what happens in the bin stays in the bin.
And worms are what they call say it.
Hermaphroditic.
Hermaphroditic. That means they both male and female. And so, when worms mate.
No worm pictures.
When worms mate, it's a circle. I mean, seriously, it is. It's a circle. Because they match, they connect in a circle, the two worms, okay? And then they swap sperm. And then they go off and lay their own eggs and do their thing. Okay? And then you have baby worms. Okay? So you won't, once you add this pound or 2 pounds of worms, you won't have to keep adding worms.
Mealworms slow down their eating in the winter. Do the worms slow down also?
Yes, because it gets colder. Most of them kind of burrow in and they don't really hibernate.
But they're not as active.
But they're not as active, yes.
Do you put the worms on the garden as well and start over with new worms?
Yes.
Unless they're married. Just saying. They party on their own.
Yeah. Yes. When you want to take your entire worm bin and top dress your fall garden.
Asexual.
You want to have those worms come into your garden. And again, people, this is why mulch, again, is uber important. Okay? You can, if you use wood chips, one of the things that you can do is where you planted, you could spread the wood chips out, top dress in that area, cover the wood chips back up, and do that in all your little spots where you were growing stuff. Or if a lot of your, if you use a lot of grass clippings and leaves and that kind of stuff to mulch with, then you can just what do they call it? Just toss it. There's a big fancy word for it, but you can just basically, dadgummit, that word is right on the tip of my tongue. But anyway, you can just toss it along as you go. Okay, scatter it along as you go, and because you're going to remulch again anyway. But mulching after you put your worms, you empty your worm bin is very, very important. Because you want to give your worms the protection from your mulch, because you just tossed them to high heaven and you busted everything up. And a lot of your service guys are still hanging on the surface, and that means they're vulnerable to predators, birds, broadcasting. Thank you. They're vulnerable to predators, frogs, lizards, snakes, kids. Birds, you know, anything like that, chickens, kids. You know, and top dress is another one. Thank you, Suburban. And so you want to, real quick, if you're going to top dress it or broadcast it out, you want to make sure that you have mulch to be able to cover it again. Okay. Now, a lot of us, you know, or not everybody's going to be making worm compost on such a large scale like we are here on Big Bear. So a lot of you guys probably won't be top dressing your entire garden with it. You'll be doing like how we did when we were down south, so we're down more south
of where we are now.
Yeah, and where we were just amending the areas where we were growing stuff. Okay?
Yeah, we didn't do the entire garden.
And if you design your garden and set your garden up where you have, bam, walk paths, and that's where it's going to be, is those walk paths, then I wouldn't top dress. I would just amend the areas where you're growing. Okay? And if you do this, and you do this on a regular basis, you do not have to stress as much about rotating your garden.
Because you're feeding your soil.
Right. You are basically
replenishing. Right. Yeah.
You're feeding your soil. You're keeping the party going. You know.
Right.
Like, hey Jesus, we ain't got no more wine. And what did he do? Turned the water into wine. Kept the party going. That's the same thing. I'm going to hell for that one. That's the same thing that you're doing when you add an amendment to the soil. You're keeping the party going. And so you can do it to make it fit your garden. So
Cat Lover was I think it was Cat Lover was talking about how she put wood chips. Somebody gave her wood chips and it killed her garden or killed her flowers because they were treated. The wood chips were treated, and of course, anyway, always she said that talk to the electrical companies when they send out people to chop down trees. They chip it, and you get and the thing about that, like we had that 2 years ago when they brought it, and it sat for an entire year. And then by the time we pulled everything out, we had compost in the middle. We had the chips on the outside, but the inside was a nice, good compost.
And trust me when I tell you this, okay? If you get up to the tree guys, the tree service guys, and you talk to them and saying, hey, you guys are chipping all this stuff up in this area. What do you do with the chips? And then some of the guys will go, oh, we got to take it all the way. Why? You want them? Yes. Yes, sir, I do. Thank you very much. And clear out a spot. Make it as easy for them to come to you to dump it. Okay? Because all they want to do is back up, raise up the truck, pull it down, and go forward.
Like, literally, they will dump it wherever is convenient for them, so make sure that you're specific about that. Depends on the trees being chipped as well. I don't know. I mean, we have a lot of pine around here, so we had pine, we had oak. I mean, it seems like to me that they usually chip enough of everything that by the time it gets spit in there and tossed around and then dumped back onto where you're putting it, it's mixed up pretty good. So.
The only issue that you could have is if they did way too much cedar, and that could repel some of your beneficial insects. But most of the time, I mean, not that many people are that heavy in cedar.
Well, yeah. Oh no, he's in Texas now. Every time I've asked, they've already had someone to sell it to.
Yeah. And see, and that's where you're going to run out. If you're in a semi-populated area where there's a lot of people that are doing it.
People start offering money for it.
People start offering money for it. And then these boys are like, yeah, I'll take an extra $25 on the side. And blammo. You know, they don't tell the boss man that's $25 in their pocket.
Well, that's what we ran into when we first got here. They would send all the trucks around to cut for the electrical lines, and then the guys were bringing it to this one guy's place and dumping it, and then he turned around and sold it to everybody, and which was kind of, you know, it is what it is, but
we went and talked to the electrical company. I talked to the electrical company. We're
outside the city limits, so we're on the other side of town.
And they said, well, yeah. And I got like 14 truckloads.
But the thing is that and it's all about catching them when they're in your area. Because when they're in your area, they don't want to have to drive it
They don't want to
anywhere
drive.
else. If you're right there and they just come down your driveway and drop it off, then
You know, and when they were there dropping it off, I'd always have my girls bring out some tea for them or something, and they were extremely thankful. And it was funny how they would rotate the guys through so that way they could take a little bit of a break, and they knew they had tea here.
I have found a 6-pack works wonders for wood chips. I would believe that.
Yep. So so again, that's just all about the mulch, y'all. So
So I can shovel my sawdust and toss it in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sawdust. Now, whoop.
Here's another
caveat here. I would just be very careful, especially if you're using a lot of treated wood lumber.
Yeah. What about ash from your wood burner and grill?
I would not put that in with my worm compost. I would just broadcast that. You could put it in with your regular compost, or you can just simply broadcast it on your garden.
On your garden, yeah. I get the sawdust free. Yeah, you just gotta be careful where the wood came from. If it's if it's treated wood, you want to stay away from that.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily know if you want to stay away from it, but you would definitely want to limit it.
Yeah.
So. Do we have any other questions before we close it out? Been going about an hour and an hour because we waited about 6-7 minutes before we kicked it off. So yeah, local cabinet shops are usually untreated wood. So. Now, while we're waiting on some questions to come in next week, we are going to be talking about probably one of the most voracious insects out there. This guy is a professional eater. They tear some stuff up. And that is the black soldier fly. So.
Hey, look who's here! It's Shockbait.
She's been here for a while.
No, she has not been the one typing. Josh has been the one typing.
Oh, okay. So. Don't forget, we are live on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Now, I'm going to give this a little bit of a
caveat.
57 people in here. Y'all are getting the inside scoop. Okay? Wayne from Wayne Country Living, his daughter's birthday is this weekend.
No. It was today, I think.
Okay. He's
but they're celebrating it this weekend. Yeah.
Okay. To guys, that means it's
whatever.
Anyway.
It's a whole week.
Yeah. So he may or may not come on. If he's not going to be able to make it, he's going to call me, and then Robin and I are just going to jump on early and run it all the way till 9 o'clock. So be on the lookout. If Wayne's not on, just come right here to us because we'll be on, and we will chew the fat with y'all and have a good time. And I don't necessarily know if we're really going to have a topic or not. We may surprise you and may talk some more gardening, may talk chicken rotation, may talk pig.
I know what we're going to talk about.
What we're going to talk about.
I just walked out into our area, and I don't know about y'all, but everything, it's the first full week in February, and we have blooms on our apple trees. We have blooms on our peach trees. I've got what looks like it's about to be blooming, my muscadine vine. So guess what I'm doing this weekend?
Dancing a jig?
Clippy.
Snippy.
Snippy. Well, there's actually supposed to be a freeze, so I got to check and see where when the freeze is, and then we're going to go from there. Because we've had so much rain. Hey, what's the cutoff time? Hint.
What is she talking about?
I don't know. She's talking about...
Oh, I know what she's talking about.
I don't know what she's talking about. What's she talking about?
She's talking about the contest for the t-shirt.
Oh.
Cause she being sneaky this week. I'm just saying.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Susan.
She gonna be sneaky.
Okay, so red buds are blooming. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. We got blooms everywhere. Of course, our camellias are, they're doing their thing right now, and the daffodils are doing their thing. But I mean, I just walked around because I wanted to take a look at my muscadine vines just to see what kind of shape we're in to get ready to start pruning. Because I usually the end of February, but once I get I've already seen what you're talking about. I know. But anyway, I gotta get to pruning this weekend.
Well, Mama Cat, you gotta tell. That's the only way I can verify. So.
All right, my red blood isn't bleeding.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming by and spending time in the garden with us.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, next week, same time, 5:30. We're going to be talking about black soldier flies.
Now he's being funny. Thanks for the show, Brad. 67, man.
That's a good way to see. If I knew, I'll put you in timeout. I ain't got a care in the world.
Just joking, my friend.
So.
Kitty, you missed it earlier.
Pine Meadows, brother, you just missed it, man. We're closing up.
So. I want to make sure you knew. Yeah, we're supposed to get 30 at some point. So.
Yeah, so that's good to go. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you next week with spending time in the garden with the Big Bear Homestead. Next week we're talking black soldier flies. Don't forget to come visit us Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And also Saturday night for the Insomnia Platoon at right after American Homestead, which is about 11 p.m. Eastern Time.
I got something I want to talk about.
Yep. Yeah, this is definitely not a week to miss Insomnia Platoon. Mama's got some stuff she's gonna...
Oh! That was funny!
Whoopsie!
You didn't even plan that. That was so cool.
Mama got an idea, and she's gonna take the bull by the horns, and she's gonna run with it. So,
Donna, we're not on as part of the Homestead. This is just Homestead Network. This is just something that we've kind of put together. So
I don't even know if Dirt Patch is even
she
part.
Was on.
I don't even know if Dirt Patch is still part of the Homestead Network. I've heard rumors that she's backing away again because of all their traveling around and everything. But this show's not a part of the network. We're doing our thing.
This is just a good time for us.
This is just the best time that we can and not interfere with people that are regularly doing their thing with the Homestead Network. So until I get told otherwise, we're going to run it this way. So that's...
Squash bug of ice. If y'all could do that sometime. So write that down. Squash bugs. Could you cover squash bugs? She's on the webpage. Yeah, I know she's on the webpage. That's what I was saying. As far as I know, she's still on.
Now, a lot of your different insects and stuff, like the squash bug and the aphid and all those guys, we're going to be covering those in our video, the Sustainable Living series. Now, this is season 2 for the Sustainable Living, and that's what we're going to be covering. Predator control. I'm sorry, as you were. Predator control on the Homestead is now in its season 2. And that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be covering with that. So that's going to come out every Tuesday morning at 7. Now, if you guys are not getting enough of it there or have a lot of questions,
we might do one on predators.
We might, at the end of ones that we do here, we might do a question and answer session for those.
Well, that's good, Donna.
That's a good thing, Donna. That's the best thing to do.
That's the way you do it. That's the best thing to do. You want.
Yep.
Yeah, she was sick, and because she's been under the weather, so.
Yeah. So,
Anyway.
all right. So that's how we're gonna run it. That's what we're gonna do next week. Black soldier flies, and then we're probably gonna start talking hardcore into planting your garden and incorporating micro irrigation into it. So,
Mud Pie, real quick. The next one that I know of is Brad at 8. He's doing his tech talk.
yes.
So. Yeah. So anyway.
So,
all right.
Look, a lot of you guys are saying that you're not getting the notifications. Let's real quick run down when we come on. We got Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's Robin's essential oils class. Okay. Tuesday right now is the auction for Insomnia Platoon for emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
Homestead emergencies. Wednesday we don't
do anything.
We don't really do anything unless we have a off the cuff Insomnia Platoon late at night. Thursdays we are doing
this
in the garden with Big Bear Homestead, and that's going to be at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Friday we don't do nothing. We go hang out. We'll go for green and Hope and who's at the Go for Green? Nobody's at the Go for Green. Right? We go hang out with those guys. Then Saturday is our show, which is at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then we do the Insomnia Platoon at 11 p.m. Eastern time. And Sunday is our day of rest. We usually don't even turn on the internet.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, that Sunday night we usually
Sunday night
watch, but during the day on Sunday we're kind of chill.
Okay.
So
thank you guys for coming by. I hope you guys found this informative. I'm enjoying doing this for y'all. So I hope you guys are enjoying it too. Thank you, and we will see you again on Saturday night or in the chat box with Go for Green and Brad here in a little bit. All right, bye.